Yo, welcome to another episode of Black Man's Thoughts. It's your boy Yasha Yahoo. Haven't been on in a while. I've been, sick. I don't know if I had the COVID or not, man. It's been some weeks. It's been a lot of weeks actually, man. So, I'm excited to get back. You already know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on. Let me turn this music down. You know what I mean? We got a pretty good show actually. So I'm excited about it. I think that everybody's gonna like it. You know what I'm saying? So but today, as y'all know, man, is Hanukkah, Kanuka. So I got a chance to spend some time with my family. Really, really spend time with them this week, really get a chance to talk to them. They doing school and stuff like that. And as fathers, as alpha men, you know, fatherhood isn't just once a day thing. It's always constantly understanding that your family needs this, needs that, it needs a plan, it needs a future. It needs to, how do you transition from point A to point B? That's where the father comes in. That's where the man comes in. You got to be the answer to those. You know, So as fathers, man, we have to make sure that our kids have the the access to success, and we got to be able to provide it for them. And that means having to get up, you know, put on your big boy boots, go to work, create a business, start an enterprise, start whatever you need to get yourself elevated, and take your family to the next level. So that's what my mindset has been this week, you know. But that's a different show. Let's get back to the, while we on here talking about the Baltimore Ravens. We actually have a guest tonight. He is a Browns fan. Monday night, it was all going down, and it's a must win. It is definitely a must win. You know what I mean? But let's talk about this dad situation. Let's talk about this dad situation. I'm hearing that he tested. He said he made a tweet. They pulled him off the field. He said, "I'm done. I'm about to just hang it up." You know how Dez is. Some players are very emotional. Dez is emotional, and he's gonna come out there and he's gonna say whatever he feels. That's that gets his emotions going, man. You know what I mean? He was emotional at the time, so I don't believe that Dez is done for the year. Given the opportunity, he's gonna go out there, show what he can do. Because remember, he's still showcasing. He still wants to be on the team next year. And I think that Dez do have some less than left in the tank. And you know what I mean. And hopefully, as far as Ravens, I like the way he looked out there. I really did. We're gonna dive into that as well. We're gonna dive into J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, Mark Ingram. I mean, is that the lineup that it should go in? You know what I mean? I don't know. I have my thoughts on that. We'll talk about Hollywood Brown. Let's talk about Wickens. So I want to say I don't remember the the last podcast that you know what I mean I left off at. Let's see. Let's see what podcast I left off with. I mean, what show I left off with. I don't know. I don't really know. I think it was a pregame for the Colts. So let's look it up. Let's get my team schedule. I got some nice little melody in the background. You know. Come on, man. Dang, it's kind of hard to get to. There it go. The ESPN. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get on ESPN. A little rusty. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So we beat the Colts 24-10. You know what I mean? And I think at that time we were 6-2. We were 6-2. Your boy came down with the, I don't know if it was the flu. I don't know what it was. I had a few tests done on me. All of it came back negative, man. But I was sleeping so much, like, going to bed at 5 in the afternoon, waking up at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock the next morning. I was just done. I had no energy. But we ended up winning that game against the Colts. It was a good game. I think we handled them the way we're supposed to. Um, you know, and as we should at that time, us Raven fans, we saw some things that we wasn't liking. And looking at passing, if you look at it from the Eagles, he had 186 yards passing. Lamar Jackson 208 against the the Steelers, and then against the Colts he had 170. Okay, so I think that's where things started to actually show its face. It's starting the next week. Lamar Jackson for the Colts was 19 for 23, 170 yards. Uh, he also carried the ball 13 times for 58 yards. So he was putting his stamp on the game. That game, the running game wasn't really taken off at that point. J.K. was the second leading rusher, 12 carries, 30 yards. Gus 11 carries, 23 yards. Both averaged under 3 yards per carry. Okay, I think that's when Ingram was out, I believe. It really started getting interesting when it came to be New England. We lost to New England 23-17. Lamar Jackson, 2 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, 249 yards passing. Um, I think that was the game where wasn't Cam running pretty good. I'm not saying he was like 100 yards on us, but let's see. Yeah, he had 11 carries, 21. That's what it was. I remember Cam running a few times. You know what I mean? Nobody really dominated us. Their receivers really didn't dominate us. I'm looking at their stats. John Simon, remember him? John Simon, another guy had a sack that game, and I think Lamar Jackson did throw a interception that game. But I think what caused us to lose, if I can remember, I think that was the let's see, the Ravens penalized eight penalties, 64 yards, and they had a turnover. It was an interception. I think it was a costly interception as well. I think that's where things started going down. But I would say it would start going down coaching all year long, man. As fans, we talk about Greg Roman, Greg Roman, Greg Roman, and I think that Greg Roman deserves 93% of the problems that's going on. He is, like Steve Smith said, he's running the same plays, the same offense. And with all these analytics, people have caught on. You can tell the way teams are playing the Ravens. They understand what the Ravens are going to do. They're not afraid of the Ravens because they understand what they're going to do. And I think that's the problem. I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson is not the problem, but the problem is that if you don't know what Lamar is going to do, it makes him that much more dangerous. But if you know what Lamar is going to do and you know that he has these certain weaknesses, it makes it almost impossible for Lamar to be successful. So I think what Steve Smith was saying that you put Lamar Jackson with a real creative coach, it's going to mask a lot of the times where he's inefficient or he doesn't go through his motions or he doesn't uh or he's not as accurate. You know what I mean? Let's speed this up a little bit. Tennessee, we lost a tough one to Tennessee. We had Henry and check all the game long, and next thing you know, it end of the quarter, end of the game, he really started to take off. So I think that we have to do. Hold on, I think my guest wants to. He's getting ready. Let me see. How do I invite? Okay. Okay, I had to send an invite. But yeah, I think what happened was at the last minute, it was all Wink. I think that Wink is the one who cost that game. Wink cost the game because he made zero adjustments And what Wink does is Wink blitzes everybody. He's that old Rex Ryan. When Rex Ryan gets mad, he sends the whole team. Well, Wink does that all game long. All he does is blitz, 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 blitz. But Wink does a terrible job of stopping short passes. I think it's maybe a hardball call on where they line up at. Cornerback, because they're playing 15 yards off the ball against the Steelers, against teams that just do screens, and wonder why every time they catch the ball, it's a first down. And we're not making these key stops. I don't know if Wink is afraid to put him more close to the line, more man-on-man matches. They have to stop doing so many zones. If we have one of the best cornerbacks, if we have tandems in the league, secondary in the league, we have to let these boys play. And we got to show these teams that, why we're the best in the DB. But in the last few weeks, we haven't been seeing it. We haven't been really good at stopping a run. We haven't been really good on closing out teams or stopping teams' formula. You know what I mean? I think that when we played against Tennessee, Tennessee was a huge showed a big deficiency. Coupled that 2 week, this is your second loss in a row, and then we go on to say Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh, we lost 19-14. But at that time, it was almost impossible to win. We had like 20-something people on the COVID list. And what else could you do? You know what I mean? We put up a great effort, but we just didn't have our top players to really, and we almost won. You know what I mean? Pittsburgh played down to their competition. They knew we was handicapped, and they didn't capitalize, and we almost won. So, I can't make sure my guest is coming on. I can't say enough. They played pretty good, despite what they had. They didn't have anybody. They didn't have Lamar. But what it did is show everybody, like I've been saying, RG3 is trash, bro. I get it. Get up on him, get him the first year, help Lamar out, teach him how to, as a quarterback, as a running quarterback, what you do. But at that time, then you have Trace McSorley. Why carry 3 players when you got this COVID list, when you got this COVID situation, and Trace get in there and he show you that he's better. He's a better passer than RG3. You could have dropped RG3 last year and had picked up an extra offensive tackle, extra defensive tackle. So that way, when this stuff happens, we have reserve. You don't need 3 quarterbacks. 3 quarterbacks that do exactly the same thing. You can do that with 2 quarterbacks. And they was always keeping Trace inactive. So I never really got why they had so many quarterbacks, and one inactive, knowing that, what? That's stupid. You're taking up a roster spot. So I think this is RG3's last year with us. I also think that Mark Ingram, I don't know. I think he signed like a 4-year deal, so he got more like 1 more year with us. But I would couple Mark Ingram in a package deal with like Judon, and maybe get like a good second, a third. Damn, something. Okay, let's see who this is. Hey, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, man?
Oh, so hold on. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
You can't?
Hold on. Let me see. Maybe it's my speaker. Maybe it's my speaker. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I already could.
All right. Hold on. I'm trying to fix it so I can hear you. Okay, perfect. Say something.
Yeah.
Say it again.
You can hear me?
Oh, yeah, there you go. I thought I heard you say Raven Nation. Good job, man.
What's up, man?
Oh, man, I was work.
I mean, it was work. I'm actually switching careers.
Mm-hmm.
So this shift I'm working 7 p.m. is for the birds, no pun intended. And I'm switching careers to real estate in March, so I can't wait, man. I wish it was tomorrow.
You still coaching?
Not exactly. So the team that I was coaching the last couple of years, this season, if there is a season, you don't know with COVID, but if there is a season, we're going to try to do a different role with me doing more admin type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been really good at breaking down film and stuff like that. So we're kind of playing to my strengths with film and kind of just being an advisor for the team. So we're going to see how that goes.
Okay. Yeah, man. Me and this guy, we've talked for years. And I remember one conversation we had, on the boat that still grinds my gears, man.
What's
It
that?
was a conversation about my beloved Brian Dawkins, about how he, to me, is a Hall of Fame worth safety, and you just didn't see it. You thought he was. You say he's an average safety, well, above average safety. I still can't. Brian Dawkins, man.
Yeah, no, he's definitely very good, but Hall of Fame. Yeah, it depends on who you ask.
He may not have the numbers, but I just think he defined what a safety was supposed to be, man. He was good, man. He was damn good.
Yeah, and I respect that.
All right,
he is what safety's supposed to be.
Yeah. All right, man. So your team's hot right now. They're hot. I mean, I'm hearing coach. I'm hearing stuff like coach of the year. I'm hearing a lot of stuff right now. As a fellow Ohioan, you can't be nothing but happy that the Browns finally getting some stability within the front office. And I'll say that no matter if they're rotating or not, you can see the tremendous amount of talent the Browns are adding. I mean, the Browns from 1999, right? 1999, whenever they came back from. Now, I think that when Romeo Crennel was the coach, that's when they really started adding a lot of talent. And from there, every year they just start really, really sprinkle here, and people just overlook them because they're not in Ohio. But Ohioans, like, hey, man, this ain't they really getting some talent. They're getting some big names. And now look at the offense. I mean, the star power on offense. I mean, Odell Beckham, a Landry, a Kareem Hunt. I mean, this is not the Browns from 1994, buddy. This is some real star power. And Nick Stefanski, I think what he did, the other coaches can't do. I think he's simplifying it and understanding that AFC North is about a dominant run game. It's not about a flashy quarterback. Even though we got Lamar Jackson, it's built on a dominant run game. The Pittsburgh Steelers is built on let's run the freaking football, and then I'm going to play action and hit you over the top. And I think that's the formula to win in the AFC North.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. Unfortunately for me as a Browns fan, I've weathered through all these losing years. I mean, we're a pretty bad team for a long time. We had a little bit of we had 1 year where we were good with Derek Anderson and Braylon Edwards for a second, like 10
ages ago.
Yeah, that was 2006 or something like that. And we've had maybe 2 winning seasons since then, since we came back. But for the most part, it's always been either the bottom of the AFC North or third or fourth place. So we've been basically in the little brother mode of the Ravens and Steelers for a long ass time, which is obviously annoying as hell as a Browns fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, when you're that bad for that long and you get that many high picks, unless you have really stupid people making the picks, you're eventually going to accumulate some talent. So I think the combination of John Dorsey making some good moves for us as a GM, and then us kind of doing some smart stuff with money, has just kind of put us into having a really talented team with finally a good coach, which we haven't had in a long time. And the combination of having a good coach, having a good GM, and having the talent means the Browns can finally compete. And so it's long overdue.
So maybe you can clarify it for me. Now, the GM last year was a baseball guy, an analytical guy who, what was it, that last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was, you had a baseball guy and fired him after 1 year. But that year, he really turned things around from the outside looking in. As the outside looking in, I was like, oh, wow, we got to watch out for that. And then the following year, he's gone. So what's the difference between this GM and the previous GM for y'all?
So there was a guy, like you said, that came from baseball. He was an analytic guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was with us, I think, 3 years ago. And what he did was a whole bunch of things that are really smart financially, right? So he put us in a really good spot with draft capital and money wise. So then when John Dorsey came in, he had all this money and all these draft picks to do what he does, which is the best case scenario. So that was awesome. And so he was able to get some good draft picks. He drafted, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, etc. And then we also had the money to go get guys like Odell, right? So you have all the capital you need. The reason it didn't work out with John Dorsey was, well, what I've been told, I don't know the guy, but what I was told was the way he is, John Dorsey, he's the kind of guy that he wants to control everything, right? So he has like kind of a little bit of an ego. He knows he's good at what he does. So when he negotiates with his teams to either join him or not join him, he says, "Here's the deal: if I come to join your team, you're going to let me do it my way. I don't want to hear what the head coach has to say. I don't even want to hear what the owner has to say. Let me be John Dorsey, and you're welcome." So that was fine for a while, but then once the Browns wanted to have more of a collaborative, thing with the team and everybody's input being put in with it, especially the coach, and having a new coach come in, it basically, the rubber hit the road. It was where Dorsey didn't want to have anybody to collaborate with, and the ownership group wanted it to be a collaborative issue, like or collaborative thing, which the Steelers and Ravens, that's what they do. You know what I mean? Ozzie Newsome and John Harbaugh and whoever for the Steelers. These guys are winning organizations. They always have good defenses.
Right.
They always invest in, like defense and running game, and they've had stability at quarterback for the most part. So all these teams have been doing it right in front of us the right way. And the stars have finally aligned for us to have the right pieces. So I love Andrew Berry, our new GM. I love Stefanski. I mean, I love our team, man. It's crazy. When I was talking to my buddy Jeremiah about Brown's needs for the next season, no, it wasn't Jeremiah, it was Derek. My buddy Derek asked me, like, what would you want the Browns to draft in the next draft? And I was scratching my head. I'm like,
that's when it's starting to become a good team.
Yeah. It's like, on offense, what do we need? What are we missing? You know what I mean? Like, I like Baker. You can debate whether or not Baker's the answer, but I like him. I mean, I'm wearing his jersey right now.
Right.
Offensive line is arguably the best in the league. Colin Cowherd just said that today, and he doesn't like the Browns. Austin Hooper, the rookie tight end, all those guys are solid. Even Carlson, people don't know him, but he's good too. Then you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, which is even fair to be on the same team, in my opinion.
Nah, that's crazy.
Then you go at receiver and you have Odell and Landry and Higgins, etc. I mean, there's really no holes. So on offense, we're looking good.
Let me ask you this though: when Kareem Hunt signed that extension, I'm like, Kareem Hunt is good enough to have his own team, but that shows you there's something building there where players, unlike the Cavs, because it's the same city, but you notice that people will come there and play for the Browns. But they're having a hard time when it comes to the Cavs. So then that makes me think, if people are really starting to say, hey, I'll go to the Browns, they must be starting to hear about something that's going on with this team, about the organization that is no longer the Browns of the past. They're really trying to formulate something, So that's really good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Cleveland is known for bad weather. You know what I mean? It's not a vacation spot. People aren't going to move there for the weather. And they've been a bad team for a long time. And so combination of being on a bad team and the crappy weather is obviously not going to make a lot of people want to go there. But like you said, the culture change has been that we have people that want to be a part of something. So it's kind of hard to say why Kareem Hunt signed that signed that extension, because I'm not sure there. I'm not sure if it's the winning. I'm not sure if he likes his teammates. I'm not sure if he's eternally grateful because we gave him a chance when the NFL was kind of trying to blacklist him. You know what I mean? Maybe all the above, but I'm just glad I have him. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not happy that you guys. I mean, think about it. This is Kareem Hunt is no slouch, man. I mean, this is at one point in time, man. This was the man.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was the man, and Nick Chubb was, my goodness. I mean, you can't say enough about Nick Chubb. Him, Sonny Michel, Georgia. That's my squad. So I used to watch Nick Chubb. I knew he was going to be good. I kept seeing him a lot of Mark Ingram and Nick Chubb. That's who I would always compare him to. Like, this dude doesn't go down. He's a hard runner. He has great vision. He's not flashy. It's not about him. He's gonna be the bell cow. And I think what happened was the problems to me with the coaching was you had so many stars. They said we have to get Landry, Njoku, whatever his name is. We got to get these guys the ball. But the reality is, I think what the Browns is, and you kind of said it, the Browns did what the Ravens had learned to do. The AFC North, I hate to admit it, the Steelers organization is the model. It's one of the models of the NFL. And what it does is it sets the outline, the foundation of your division. They draft well. They're gonna run. They're gonna blitz you, and they're gonna play smash mouth football. In order to compete with that, you have to build your team like that. So I think what the Browns got smart and did and said, you know what? instead of all this passing and stuff, we're going to build up that defensive line. And what we're going to do is we're going to formulate a running attack. So we know that Baker isn't Peyton Manning, and that's fine. Everybody isn't Peyton Manning, but what we're going to do is alleviate the pressure off of him and let it be smash mouth football. And that's the problem. We have the toughest division in all the sports in my division. By the time the playoffs gets here, we're all in freaking wheelchairs and can barely compete. But in any given day, nobody can really mess with anybody in the AFC North.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, until Joe Burrow got injured, the Bengals even weren't really an easy win.
My goodness, he's going to be good.
Yeah.
So my goodness.
It sucks because you got to think the Browns are finally competitive, and somebody's got to be the doormat of the AFC North, right? So it's obviously going to be the Bengals because the Ravens and Steelers aren't going to go anywhere. And the Browns
don't know for long for that, though. My goodness.
That's what I'm saying. Scary. So I was looking forward to the Bengals being the doormat for a while, but then they get Joe Burrow, and he's the truth. So now I can't even back on that. Wow. You know what I mean? So it's like how long is Ben going to be around?
Yep.
And then Joe's just getting started. So who knows, man? I mean,
T. Higgins, Mixon is if they build up that, oh my goodness, they build up that line because I think they drafted a really good center. They're slowly starting to build up the line a little bit. They mess around and get Joe Mixon going and get somebody opposite of T. Higgins, Boyd, get themselves a solid tight end. I mean, that is a team, man, it could be 4 teams from the AFC in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's crazy. AFC North.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, it's going to be crazy. The future is crazy. This season's crazy. The whole year of 2020 is crazy. I'm interested to see how the Browns do. I can't wait for Monday night with our rematch for the Ravens. You guys spanked us the first game of the season.
That's not about to happen again.
No, definitely not.
That's not about to happen again.
So the rematch is going to be great. You guys kind of have to win. You guys kind of.
There's no kind of. Our whole season on this one moment. This is it. I mean, we freaked up. I mean, it's over. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, I don't think people realize, you know, when you're a diehard fan, you have to be kind of like, you can't be always a homer. You understand in your division, you know who's solid. And I know for a fact that you guys are so hot right now, especially running the football, the chemistry, just the unity right now is surging. And right now, it was a good win to get Lamar back out there. We hadn't practiced in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I know everybody is seeing the weakness in our run defense right now. Calais Campbell looks like he's 70 years old with that ankle injury. You know, Brandon Williams is playing lights out football, but we got a lot of rookies playing defensive tackle and they're getting destroyed. So I'm just like, you know, Myles Garrett is going to get his. He's always going to eat. I think he's going to be a Hall of Fame player. He's just such a good, consistent freaking bullet that just flies all over the place.
He's a monster, yeah.
But and so I just think that this is a game, man. This is going to be down to the nitty gritty, man. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game.
I couldn't agree more. I think if you asked me 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have told you the Ravens would win this game because if I was, you know me, man, I'm not only a Browns fan, I'm a football fan,
right?
And I pay attention to the AFC North. So especially when the Browns are finally good and we finally have a chance at the playoffs, I literally went on to ESPN.com, looked at the Ravens schedule, right? What do you have? Who do you have left? Look at the Steelers schedule. Are they going to go 16-0? Look at the Browns schedule to see how all it will maybe play out. And what I saw was the Ravens had lost a few games. They were close to 500, and they were at a point where they pretty much have to win out to have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And it started with it went Cowboys, then Browns. And everybody after the Browns is pretty winnable, right? It's like teams like the Bengals without Joe Burrow, the Jets, you know, like a very winnable games. So what that says to me is 2 or 3 weeks ago, I say the Ravens win that game.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Last week when we beat the Titans in Tennessee, that changed things for me.
Oh yeah. That's not a small thing. That's Tennessee.
No. Dude, listen. Y'all just had a slobber knocker against Tennessee where Henry ran for a touchdown in overtime to beat you.
Right?
They had like talking crap and almost get in a fight in the pregame and stuff like that. That's right. 2 physical teams, grown-ass men going at it. So you guys barely lost them in overtime. We beat them. We beat them by 1 score, but that game was not that close. In the second half, if you watch the game, there's 3 calls that went the Titans' way. They got bailed out on a defensive holding and helmet-to-helmet hit. all this stuff, whatever. But we won the game is the point.
Mhm.
So my thing is that Titans game changed things for me. So if you asked me before, I would say the Ravens win by a small margin. But now I've teetered over the other way. Now I think the Browns win by a small margin. I think it's a great game. I think it come down to the end, and the Browns pull it out. That's just maybe I'm being biased, but
No, you're making some great points. I have in my I started a chat group on Twitter. I'm a big Twitter guy. I'm huge Twitter. It's my
okay,
favorite platform. So, I get all my information, talking to my guys on Twitter about, Ravens, and we're all seeing the same thing, man. This is not an easy game. This is a must win, and it's not guaranteed. And to be honest with you, we have to be prepared. We might not win this game. We may not. We really may not win this game, man. So just let's start at the quarterbacks. I'm looking at Lamar Jackson. He's got barely over 2,000 yards passing. You know what I mean? 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and he got 24 sacks. And I think what's going on is that Lamar is so focused on trying to prove critics wrong. The team is trying to make Lamar into something that he maybe could be, but why rush him? Let him figure the game out. Because remember, Lamar didn't get a chance to have his second year slump. Baker did. Baker was able to go out there, be Baker, take the criticism, let it roll off his back, and come back and find himself within there. Lamar hasn't got a chance to do that. And people are shocked, like, oh, he's doing this, he's throwing sidearm again. Well, you know what? Let's look at it as a second-year slump. He covered Madden, he's got all the accolades, and now he's hit a wall where teams has figured it out. And like Steve Smith said, it's not always just Lamar. It's Greg Roman has since he's been a coordinator has been the bottom of the league in passing as a passing coordinator, which means that he's had the same offense Steve Smith said for the last 8 years. With analytics, teams study that. So you notice that most teams don't put a lot of defensive tackles in the game with Lamar. They put a whole bunch of defensive backs, play him back, make him beat him on a pass on zone, and when he tries to run outside, he's not getting 30 yards, he's getting 6. So now Lamar has to figure out, like Cincinnati used to put Flacco in a zone, and they just, I want to say who was the Bengals' old coach? He had Flacco's number.
Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis had Flacco's number, and all he did was just drop everybody and make Flacco beat him, making good decisions, and Flacco never could. And that's what teams are doing against Lamar. But instead of forcing him to be Pat Mahomes versus Lamar, allow Lamar still to be Lamar. Allow him to get acclimated, understand what coverages look like. What is a soft coverage? What is this? He doesn't understand that on a pro level yet. And I just think that that's the problem with Lamar, is that they're overthinking it.
Let me ask you this question before we dig further into the matchup coming up. So you're from Ohio like me.
Yes.
I'm a diehard Browns fan.
Mm-hmm.
You're a fairly diehard Ravens fan.
Yeah.
So how did you become a Ravens fan?
Well, my dad is a Bengals fan. So I would grow up, we would watch the Bengals and the Browns, and we always talked about how the Steelers cheat. So I always hated the Steelers.
Okay, good.
What happened was I was a Browns fan. I was a pretty damn good Browns fan. Okay. What happened was when they left in 96, and the Ravens came on, I remember kept watching them. And I was like, man, I kind of like this team. And it was in the back of my mind, I would watch them. I wasn't like studying them or nothing, but they just kept catching my eye. And I kept watching for a couple of years. And then they came out with a kick returner receiver named Jermaine Lewis. Well, guess what? My name is Jermaine. So I was like, oh, this is my squad. This is my squad. And watching them, their lead, their first coach, getting Brian Billick, and just doing all that, man. I just been friend since 96, 97, man. I just been with them, never stopped. You know what I mean? But I always, home teams, not home team, but it's the Browns. So you always watching them, you're hearing about them. All my friends is Browns fans and Steelers fans. So, I'm just glad that they have an opportunity to finally get that stigma off of them. You know what I mean? And they have some players, man. You got to really, really give it up to that organization for really trying to turn things around.
Yeah. Yeah, I was always curious about that. I knew you were a Ravens fan, but I also knew you were from Ohio. So I wasn't sure how you became a Ravens fan. I guess the difference between me and you is when the Browns team was moved to Baltimore, when Art Modell did that, obviously that's devastating to any Browns fan, right? It's like, how dare you take one of the best franchises in the NFL and move it somewhere? Like, you got a lot of audacity, dude. So he did that. And so pretty much by default, I'm like, well, F them and F anything,
Yeah.
related to Art Modell, right? They all can kick rocks.
Right.
Which, I mean, that makes sense, right?
It was the
So then
best
the
thing that
Browns-
ever happened to me. I
Yeah.
mean that is my team, man. That is my team for life. There is no changing. Win, lose, or draw, man. If we go 0-16, 30 years in a row, that's my squad, man. So
Yeah. You're a real
yeah.
fan. Yeah, I respect that. Yeah, so like you said, man, being a Browns fan and seeing, the Ravens and Steelers consistently be good teams year in and year out, always draft well, and just, consistency at the coaching spot, not a lot of turnover. It's been frustrating. I mean, it's one of those things. Not only is it frustrating to see the team that, like, you got to think the Browns got moved to Baltimore. So it's like the old Browns. So my team got moved to Baltimore, then won a Super Bowl. Think about that. And I'm stuck. I'm here with the freaking what do you call it? An expansion team.
Right.
And Tim Couch getting
Right.
sacked 60 times
I will say that I was a Tim Couch fan, and I'll say it to this day. Tim Couch could have been the franchise quarterback if they surrounded him with more. Because didn't they have a receiver name? I think his name was Kevin Johnson or something like that. They had a really good receiver. And the problem what they had back in the day was they couldn't get the running back until they got the dude from Boston College. Remember him? And he was the first 1,000-yard running back that they had for a while. His name was because that's when they also had Courtney Brown. Remember Courtney Brown?
Yeah.
Can't
think of that guy's name.
Boston College, man. Yeah, he had 1,000-yard run year, I think 1 or maybe 2, and he just fills it out. And they just couldn't get the line together with Tim Couch. They couldn't get running backs. They had Kevin Johnson, and they just didn't have the talent.
Yeah, for sure. So my point is that I've stuck with the Browns. When the Browns moved to Baltimore, I literally didn't even watch football for a couple of years. Like yeah, man. And I love football, so that's saying a lot. Then they came back, and I was happy they came back, but then I'm getting like a watered down version of football. Mm-hmm. So I'm a real fan, just like you are. I'm going to be a fan until I die, whether they go 0-16 or 16-0. I'm hoping I see a Super Bowl victory before I die. But yeah, man, just going back to the point, like the Steelers and Ravens have been good for so long. When you think about how many NFL franchises have been good year in and year out, I think last year is a perfect example, right? Last year, Ben is out for the season. They have injuries everywhere for the Steelers, right? They're playing pretty much all their backups. They got Duck Hodges at quarterback, James Conner shirt. I mean, it was bad, right?
Beautiful.
So when that happened, it was awesome. As a Browns fan, that's awesome.
It was beautiful,
right? Yeah. So here's the thing, dude. They come to Cleveland, and we whip their ass. Unfortunately, the Myles Garrett thing overshadowed everything, and it was a black eye. But in the game that was played, we whipped their ass for 4 quarters. Mm-hmm. So that felt great as a Browns fan. It's like about time. Well, then here's the kicker. We played them in Pittsburgh a couple weeks later. Now, keep in mind, this is still all their backup players. Mike Tomlin and a whole bunch of backups. And guess who won? The punk-ass Steelers.
Yeah.
Right? So here's my point, man. The Steelers on a down year with all their backups went 8-8. So our bottom is 0-16. Their bottom is 8-8.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot. That hurts me to say that.
The Roonies. I mean, you have to give it up to you. Can't be oblivious to understand that is a great organization. The Roonies, they have that formula that I don't see. Listen, we got Miles Boykins. He come from the University of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He can barely catch a cold, right?
Yeah.
Look, in the worst pandemic ever, he can't even catch COVID, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the next year, same team, the Steelers get some guy named Chase Claypool. Now, coming into the draft, nobody's talking about, Chase Claypool, some giant who's 280 pounds running a 4.2 is going to come out of Notre Dame and score 10 touchdowns. You don't hear the Chiefs talking about him, the Patriots talking about him. All of a sudden, he comes to the freaking Steelers. Who's this guy doing this crap? Like, how do they Hightower out of Charlotte? Who's this guy who talks about Hightower? And next thing you know, you got Bud Dupree, Hightower, and Watt as some kind of freaking bullets coming off the end anytime they want to, getting 13 sacks each. Like, We can't even get 6 from one guy.
Yeah.
Let alone how do you every year you're just what are you doing in your draft and your scouting? It all starts with scouting. And what happened with the Ravens for years and years when we were doing really good, Ozzie Newsome was getting senile and letting all of our scouts go, letting all of our coaches go. The owner said, "Hey, you got to go. You got to get your ass out of here. Bring in Ed DaCosta because you're playing 90s football in a modern era. You have to be able to. You can't just 270-pound linebackers trying to freaking chase Tyreek Hill. You have the Steelers. They just know what to do. So I say all that to say, man, the Ravens watch the Steelers too. I hate to say it, but I remember them saying like, "Hey, when we came in there, they taught us how to look at linebackers. They taught us how to do certain things because when we're playing this guy, they're looking a lot different from us, and we're getting them from the same draft. So obviously, we're looking at it a lot different than what the Roonies are doing."
Yeah, for sure, and that pains me to say that because I hate the Steelers more than words can say, but it's true. I mean, they had a horrible season of injuries, and they went 8-8. So let me ask you this. I say the bottom of the worst case scenario for them is about 7-9, 8-8 for the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say yours is? Worst case scenario for the Ravens.
We just had 20-something people on COVID lists, and we're looking at 7-5. Now, do I think we're going to win this game? I'm hoping we're going to win this game, but I'll be honest with you. I hate to say this.
Go ahead, say it.
I almost had to brace myself on that one. Oh my God.
Go ahead,
I trust you guys to win more than I trust our offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, just to do smart things. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunate for you.
I think that's killing us. I do think that you guys are at a position where Steve Stefanski and your offensive coordinator, whoever that may be, has this team simply they dialed it down. You know what? Take ODB out of the situation. That's going to make us a little bit more focused. I don't have to try to get him 6 to 7 catches a game. I can say, you know what? I can spread it around even, and I can just coast and follow the script. Whereas our offensive coordinator, it could be a goddamn hole right in the middle of the field. You know what he's going to do? Let me throw a screen to the sideline. Like this common sense stuff, I think, is ruining our season.
So what do you think is the problem? You think he just isn't a good coach, or he gets too creative, or he's,
I think he's took Lamar as far as he can go, and I think that Lamar has hit his ceiling with him, so Lamar's growth has stunted. And I think that I'm not blaming all of Roman, but I think that this offense can't go no further, and they're not creative, and teams figured it out. It's an easy format. But last week we did get back to running the ball. We started simplifying. Lamar was having fun, and that's the key thing. When Lamar's stressed out, it's a bad game. If he's focused on having a matchup like Mahomes, this and that, when he's like focused on a matchup, terrible game. But when he's high-fiving, him and Hollywood is up there doing whatever they're doing, we're rolling. So I got to see how when Lamar come out, he's going to tell me everything. If he come out happy, I'm good with that. So,
yeah, I think it's a really intriguing matchup for a lot of different reasons. You guys need to win badly. The Browns are on a roll. We remember what happened in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's the payback at home for us. We're 5-1 at home this year. We're well coached. Baker's playing at a high level. Our running backs are rolling. They're both healthy. And this is something I'll tell you that I can guarantee you, almost guarantee you don't know. We have a right guard named Wyatt Teller. Wyatt Teller was like a converted defensive lineman. He was when they were talking about our depth chart this season, they said, okay, first round left tackle, Jedrick Wills, left guard, Joe Bitonio, solid. Center, J.C. Treader, solid. Right tackle, Jack Conklin, best tackle in the free agent class, solid. The only question mark is right guard, right? Mm-hmm. So Wyatt Teller ends up being that starter. Dude, listen, earlier this season before he got injured, you know how they have the PFF ratings?
Right.
Pro Football Focus. He graded out at the highest right guard grade since 2006.
Wow. Y'all done found a Marshall Yonder on the team. Good gracious.
Listen. Yeah. So think about that. The highest right guard rating on PFF since 2006 is our right guard.
Wow.
And he's on pace to play against the Ravens on Monday.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
And you know what? I'm glad you guys are finding gems in a rough. You know what? Look at PFF. Our line is going to say Ravens line sucks. That's all it's going to say. I mean, literally when we played the Steelers, people don't realize we were literally signing guys off the street just to play in the game. We literally had like 3 people that had never been on our team starting. You know what I mean? 2 of them was on offensive line. One of them just got picked up, and I'm like, yo, it's sad to say he was signed off the street and was our best center all year. That's how bad our season has been just from the outside. I mean, everything has went against us. So I'm not really looking forward to this matchup Monday because you guys are so hot. And I'll be honest with you, the Browns are not easy to play for us. I mean, the last 3 years, man, holy crap, man, we're not just easily beating the Browns. The record says one thing, but watching the games, I watched them games very closely, and they're smash mouth. Since Baker has been on that team, bro, we haven't just blown you guys out. So
you remember last year when we went into Baltimore? This is when we had Freddie Kitchens as a coach. Went into Baltimore and we destroyed you guys.
Yeah.
Nobody saw it coming. I picked the Ravens. Everybody picked the Ravens. Right? You're at home. You guys are undefeated, and the Browns just trounced them. So we proved what we can do. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we had so much inconsistency, and Freddie Kitchens wasn't the right guy. We couldn't keep it up, and Baker was, feeling himself too much, and he had the sophomore slump. So this year, everything's clicking, dude. We're past the sophomore slump.
I'll tell you this though, Ravens fans saw it. You say you didn't see it. Ravens fans saw it because, like I said, when you watch those games, since Baker has been on that team, man, we have struggled mightily against the Browns to beat them, just to close out the game. I mean, Chubb has just dominated us. Landry has just and I'll tell you this. You know who my favorite receiver on your team is? Higgins. That was his name, Rashad Higgins. He is a legit. I don't understand why he isn't that guy. Like he has the talent. He can catch. He has move. I've seen him. My favorite player on the team is Jimmy Smith. He used to give Jimmy Smith a lot of problems. He gave Marlon Humphrey a lot of problems. He's just shifty. I mean, I think the Landry is all world. I honestly don't think Odell Beckham is a good fit for your team because I think that you have other guys who are really a good fit for Baker. And Baker, he tries to be the alpha dog. But the thing is, Odell Beckham is a natural walk into the room, eyes look type of guy. Yeah. And I think what that does to Baker, it makes him nervous. It makes him nervous. Like, I want to keep everybody on the same page because I'm also an alpha guy. But what it does, I think it messes his game up. It messes his mind up on who do I feed. I want to keep all these guys happy. And I don't think it works. But take him out of the equation, you get a better Baker to me. A more confident Baker.
Yeah, you definitely make that argument. Once Odell went out for the season, Baker started playing better. It didn't seem like he was forcing it to anybody. You definitely can make that argument. Yeah. Of course, when you ask Baker, he's going to say, no, Odell's awesome. I want to have him back. He's an asset. He's going to say what he's supposed to say. But when you watch the games and you see the stats, he does play better without Odell.
I think Odell makes him nervous. I think Odell makes that organization nervous. Just like the Ravens, they had that situation with Ray Rice. So there's a lot of good players like a Kareem Hunt, like a good players, but it makes the Ravens nervous. They wouldn't want to touch that. I think that those type of players, I think that the Browns should stay with them alpha, just natural coming there. If I'm going to overshower Baker, stay away from this guy because it's going to make Baker play a certain way where he's just not in rhythm. He's just like forcing it. So when I look at Lamar, we got a Hollywood Brown, and Hollywood is good. He's if he was on the Steelers or the Patriots, my God, this dude would dominate. But I think what it is that the Ravens have never had a receiver like that. They're nervous. They don't know whether to try to make him be AB. They don't know if they want him to be Tyreek Hill. But what they're not allowing him to be is Hollywood, is Marquise Brown. And I think that sometimes you just got to let players play. Let them be who they are. Let them find their neck. So that way, and you don't put that stigma on them where I've got to be this or I'm the possession guy. Let him go out there and be who he is, what got him there, and allow him that's one less thing he's got to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, Odell's grown on me since he came to Cleveland. I wasn't a huge fan of his when he played for New York. So I like him. I would like him to stay with us long term, but it does seem like Baker plays better without him. And so it'll be interesting to see because I trust our GM to do the right thing. I trust Stefanski to make the right decisions. So if they're seeing the writing on the wall that we're a competitive team without Odell, do we need Odell? and we'll see. I mean, we know it's Jarvis's best friend, but I mean that only goes so far.
Yeah,
But
business is business.
yeah, so Monday night, man, I can't wait. I mean, can the Ravens win? Of course they can, right? They killed us in week one, but this is
Not a coaching.
yeah.
It's gonna come down to coaching. It's AFC North football. We already know we're going to get. It's December football. It's going to be a lot of running. The bread and butter is running in defense. The matchups where I'm looking forward to. I actually like Njoku, the tight end. I don't think that he's getting the fair share he deserves. I think he's really talented, but I do think Patrick Queen on Hooper. I honestly think that our cornerbacks can really hold your receivers. The thing that I think that we lose the matchup on is your offensive line and that run game against our defensive line and our rookie linebacker. Yeah. That's the matchup right there where I'm really concerned, because when Tennessee had Queen's head like this, he didn't know what to do. Patriots, I mean, he didn't know what to do. And come on, Patriots got Harris. Who's this guy? He's not going to go into freaking anybody's stadium and like, oh, we're scared of him. But the coaching had Patrick Queen where he couldn't get settled. So that's what I'm afraid of, the coaching.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. I think the only way that we lose the game is if we let Lamar just run amok. I'm not terribly afraid of your guys' run game. Of course, I like J.K. Dobbins, but I think Ingram's kind of on his last legs. I'm not too afraid of him. I think your run game isn't too formidable. Lamar is Lamar. He's a freak, right? He could run for 100 yards and throw for 250. And if he does that, we'll probably lose the game. But like you said, if there's bad play calls, if Lamar's not having a good time, if he's stressed out, it could be a long day. Penalties. And the Browns are going to run the ball. Everybody knows it. We have two good running backs. We have a great offensive line, and they're going to be more than motivated. So what you're going to do. Then the question is, can you stop it? But if you guys don't coach well, you're not going to win.
And you know what? You remember that old basketball saying when they would say Jordan's going to get his. You're not going to stop Jordan. That's the way I kind of feel with the run game at this point. Yeah. They're going to have success running. Whether it was somebody's going to get a lot of yards running. The run game, we know we're going to give up that, but we just can't beat ourselves. If we're going to give up yards on a run game, we can't also give them up on a penalty.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking of, Landry's not going to ever beat you deep. So we're then it's like Wink pissed me off 2 weeks ago when we played the Steelers, or whenever we played the Steelers. All they do is slants. He's getting the ball out in like a 0.2. Everybody in the world knows this, but our cornerbacks are lined up 15 yards deep, and all they're doing is throwing it to him. Yeah. I'm like, if you get up on Landry, I think if you double Landry, you have a spy on Landry at all times. I think that what we're going to do is now we're going to have to force Rashad Higgins. I mean, that's the name, right? We'll have to Rashad Higgins to beat us. We're going to have to get the other guy to beat us. And I think that we can have success by doing it. It's a simple formula. Spy Landry, understand that they're going to get yards there, but what we want to do is bend, don't break. If we can do that and play sound offense, not sound defense, but sound offense, just do the Belichick mode. If they're not going to give you 20 yards, take the 3. You take the 3 times, you got 1 yard to go. You know what I'm saying? So I think that instead of just trying to say, hey, drop back and try to Hollywood this and Hollywood that, just boom, just take what the defense gives you and don't be cute. But the problem is our coaching, and that's why I'm having a problem. And a lot of fans like myself is like, I'm a Harbs guy. But Harbs now is starting to panic. I can tell he's starting to panic. It's the worst pandemic. In a down year, he's going to be 10-6, 9 11 and 5 possibly. But so I know he's not going to get fired, but he's going to be on a hot seat simply because this is 2-3 years with Lamar now. You're starting to add all this offensive power, but they're still at the bottom in the league in offense. What is going on? Are you losing the team? Now, a lot of analysts starting to say is he losing the team because look at the penalty yards. That's why I'm saying that we can't beat ourselves.
So I'm surprised. I expect you to say you thought the Ravens would win a close one.
Bro, you're realistic, saying, man.
I respect that about you.
Yeah.
You're saying you're not looking forward to it. And
I love my team. I know my team from the ground. I know everything about this team. I know too much about this team, where people live at. I know way too much stuff. So my thing is like Hards, man. I really do believe, man, if he don't turn things around in the next year or two, I think that there's going to be an end of Hards, because at some point in time, you can't keep blaming the offensive coordinators. If you're allowing this system to go and you're allowing this BS to go on, and the players now don't want to come to an organization, now you're the problem.
I'll tell you one thing that you probably won't be expecting. Baker Mayfield is locked in. And when I say he's locked in, I'm saying like this dude will go 20 for 25 passing, and one of his incompletions was a drop for a touchdown. He threw a slant to our rookie Peoples-Jones from Michigan, right between the numbers, dropped it.
Wow.
This dude is locked in, and I'm not saying he's better than Lamar Jackson. They're two very different human beings.
But they're great quarterbacks, both of them.
They really are. People don't want to give Baker credit. So I'm saying if Baker's locked in and our running backs are who they are, which they are, and our offensive line, I personally think if Lamar Jackson goes crazy, you guys win, but also the game is won at the line of scrimmage. So not only our offensive line against your defensive line, but vice versa. So if our defensive line terrorizes you and is swarming around Lamar and making him fumble, and Miles has 3 sacks, it's going to be a long night.
Let me ask you this. I don't watch you guys that much now. How is your run defense? Like up the middle, how is your run defense? That's been your weak part.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, people can run against us, but they don't gash us. You know what I mean? It's kind of like bend but don't break type defense. You know what I mean? Like you'll get yards, but you won't like go run for 200. You know what I'm saying? So
now people fail to realize our best running back on the team is not Ingram. It is not JK.
Yeah.
It's not J.K. Dobbins. I've been saying it for the last 2 years. Gus Edwards is a man among boys. I mean, he's 6 foot, 240 pounds, can run like the wind. And people are saying it. He gassed the Steelers for 100-something yards. He gassed the last team. I mean, this dude is a legit monster. And my thing is like, either if it's a contract thing, but that's another thing that shows bad coaching. When last time we came out, Ingram starting. Why is Ingram starting? Ingram hasn't played in 2 weeks. JK is getting hot. Gus is getting hot. Why are you starting Ingram? And then at the end of the game, Ingram barely is playing in the game because they realize like, hey, this guy isn't doing anything. He's 30 years old. He got coming off of a snapped ankle. He's done. I hate to say it, but he's done. He's one of my favorite players that since his draft, man. But he's not going to be the same anymore.
Yeah, he's not. That's what I was saying earlier. I'm not worried about Ingram. I love JK. I think JK is good. But I agree with you. I think Gus Edwards is the most talented back. Yeah. I think he could run for 100 yards on Monday night, but he won't run for I don't think 150 or 2. And so I think it really comes down to 2 things, man. We know what the Browns are going to do. We know they're going to run the ball. We know Baker's going to be locked in. What we don't know is, does Lamar go crazy? Do we let him go crazy? Yes or no? We don't know yet. And secondly, who wins the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball?
Our line is terrible, bro. Our line is atrocious. But you know what? I fear the only person I really fear on your defense, obviously, is Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
Myles Garrett. I don't know enough about your cornerbacks or safeties, but I do really know that last year y'all had a linebacker that a middle linebacker. I think that was really good. Maybe it was Kirkley or something like that. I think he left.
Yeah, Kirksey went to the Packers, and we had Joe Schobert that went to Jacksonville.
Schobert's really good. He's solid. He's a solid guy. He was actually a pretty good doggone middle linebacker for Jacksonville.
Yeah, so we lost him to free agency. So we got B.J. Goodson, who was a backup for the Packers. He's our starting middle linebacker now. And our 2 outside linebackers are Mac Wilson, who's really good, but he's got injured.
He played for the Cardinals, didn't he?
No, we drafted him. He was rookie last year.
Okay.
Mac Wilson. He played for Alabama. So he's our 1 outside linebacker. We have B.J. Goodson in the middle. Then the other guy is called Taki. He's a second-year player too. He's not that good. He's not really ready to be a starter, but we don't have anybody else. And so
y'all signed the one guy from Boise too, didn't y'all? The little young outside the line defensive end outside linebacker
from Boise.
He came from Boise State. Y'all signed him off the I think he got released and y'all signed him, didn't y'all? Maybe 4 weeks ago.
Adrian Claiborne?
No, it's a rookie. He's from Boise State.
Oh, I don't know.
The only reason I asked, I wanted to know has he played yet because I know he was some guy I was looking at in the draft for the Ravens, and when I was watching his college tape, he played kind of slow, but he's known for getting a lot of sacks. So I never got a chance to check up on him.
Yeah, we've had when Miles was out, he was out because he had COVID. Olivier Vernon had a nice game where he made some plays. Adrian Claiborne's had a sack here and there. Sheldon Richardson and Ogunjobi are really solid D tackles. So I feel pretty good about our defensive line on both sides. But linebackers aren't great. Denzel Ward's very iffy to play. He probably won't play, which is great news for you guys because we don't have anybody. We don't have anybody that can guard Hollywood Brown or whoever else you guys throw to. And so we have Terrence Mitchell, who's okay, but he's not really a starter, but he's starting.
Making me happy over here now. You get me excited now because I'm thinking about the matchups.
Yeah. So Wyatt Teller is on pace to play. That's huge for us because our offensive line is phenomenal. Denzel Ward is iffy. He could play, could not play, but they wouldn't say either way. I mean, it's a Monday game, right? So you have an extra day to prepare. So they're saying like this Cordero Hodge, our receiver, and Denzel Ward are the two guys that are injured trying to come back, but they're playing it day by day. They don't know. So for me, I'm expecting Denzel Ward not to play so that if he does play, I'll just be happily surprised. You know what I mean? But for you guys, Denzel Ward not playing is huge for you. Our secondary isn't great. And so you definitely can, pass the ball on us.
Mm-hmm.
And you can run too, but, I don't think like I said, it's a bend but don't break defense. So the way we play football is we play tough football. We try to cause turnovers. We bend but don't break. Don't give up too many points. But then our offense is efficient enough and smart enough that we don't turn the ball over, and we score enough that usually we'll have more points than you. That's a winning formula. It's not rocket science. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I think that if your secondary is banged up, we have a chance because I have a feeling that Mark Andrews is going to play this game because it's win or go home. Mark Andrews, everybody's going to play. Everybody's going to play. I think I'll be honest with you. I think putting Calais Campbell in that game last week was a statement that we're desperate. We don't have anybody else.
The Dallas game?
I don't know if he's going to be – I would have held him out just for you guys' game.
You mean playing him against Dallas?
Yeah, because think about it, man. Dallas couldn't beat us no matter what. Dallas is even if the running back had ran for over 120 yards, we know that they wasn't going to over just straight up. I mean, my goodness, their receivers are good, man. I mean, their receivers is legit. But we capitalize off their weaknesses. They're all broken down and hurt. But why play Calais Campbell? Hold on. Why play Calais Campbell? But my saying that is that I would have held him out for y'all's game, get him a lot more healthier. But I mean, I'm not looking forward to what Chubb is about to do, bro. Like Chubb, I got so much respect for Chubb, man. He's one of my favorite running backs, but I'm just not looking forward to the matchup between Steve Stefanski and Wink because Wink does what Rex Ryan does, and you notice that Rex Ryan hasn't been in the game in a while. Rex Ryan gets pissed off, he blitzes the whole team. And it's an easy formula. Piss him off. He's going to blitz everybody. Boom, touchdown. That's what's happening. We blitz 80 people per play, and now we can't stop the pass.
Let me ask you if you know this. When the Browns
I'm just not looking forward to his adjustments. Wink, his halftime adjustments, the Ravens' halftime adjustments have killed him for the last 2 years. Terrible at making adjustments.
So when the Browns got Kareem Hunt to add to Nick Chubb, when they did that, the stats in the NFL, they had a stat for like the most elusive running backs, like the hardest to tackle, right? And Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb were both in the top 5.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. That's
so you truly have 2 number ones on the same team.
You do.
So like you said, Kareem used to be the man in the NFL, leading rusher.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt was last year until Derrick Henry ran for like 200 yards in the final week. So, I mean, it's a good thing to have. It's almost not fair. It feels like you're playing a video game. But football's not won on paper. You still got to go play the game. It's AFC North battle. Browns, Ravens. You guys stomped us last time. We didn't forget it.
Yeah.
And so something's got to give. And you guys got to win. Like, I don't know if you can lose to us and still make the playoffs, to be honest.
Oh, no, it's over. We got to win out. There's no way we can make the playoffs, man. It would take a miracle. You know what I mean? I don't think that's going to happen. So before we get out of here, man, what's the score? What do you think the score is going to be?
24-21 Browns.
21 what?
24-21 Browns.
24-21. I'm going to say 17-14. I don't even want to. I just think that any score is going to be – I don't think it's going to be high. It's going to be a lot of running, a lot of defense, and I'll be honest with you, I could foresee a lot of injuries. I really could, man. I can see that's the whole problem with AFC North. By the time this time of the year, we get all broken up. So I'm just like, hopefully everybody walks out healthy. I say, as a Ravens fan, I think we can pull it off. 17-14 Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson, if Lamar Jackson messes around and does what he does against the last team and he's hot, he's making plays, he's scoring rushing touchdowns, and he threw for one, and we win this game, I think that's when we take off. I think that's when we're going to start getting real hot, and the Steelers is going to do what Michigan did to Ohio State to get out that game. They don't want no problem because the Steelers, I hate the Steelers. They're a fluke. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah.
If you don't like the channel, get off. The Steelers are a freaking fluke. They made this. Tomlin is my favorite coach. He has that team freaking prepared no matter who they're playing. He's my favorite coach. But listen, man, they're going to lose another game. They might lose a few more games, and I don't think they're going to win a championship because they're heavily flawed. They're not that great of a team. It's just that when they play people, it's hard to explain it, but teams are messed up when they play them.
Yeah, it's true.
And if you say it to somebody and say, "Oh, you just hate," no, it's the truth. They played us the second time with 20 people on COVID. How can I explain that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
they're like the most hollow 11-0 team I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
They finally got beat by Washington. So
did you see their running backs? Did you see the stats that game? Terrible. Their running game, Connor is trash. I like McFarland. I think he's going to be really good with the Steelers. Snell he's a backup. He's going to always be a backup. He's going to be a punt return guy and a backup. I don't care what team he goes to. But they don't have they won't beat the Chiefs. They won't beat the Chiefs. They will struggle they won't beat the Saints. They won't beat the Packers. To be honest with you, I don't see them beating you guys again. Do y'all play one more time, right?
Week 17.
I don't. If you guys beat us and stay hot, I don't see them winning against you guys. But if y'all lose against us, I think what it's going to do is show a lot of problems for y'all. Was it a fluke?
So
was it a fluke? Did they get hot? You know what I'm saying? I think that's going to be a problem for y'all.
Check me out. We have the Ravens, the Giants, the Jets, and then the Steelers. If we win on Monday, we might win out, bro.
If you lose on Monday, y'all might lose out as well.
No, we won't lose out.
Y'all won't lose out, but I can see y'all maybe struggle against the Giants.
Could.
And I can see y'all struggle against the Steelers. I think that y'all can beat the Steelers. I will go on record to say I would pick the Browns over the Steelers. But I think that it's all up here. If you guys lose to your big test on Monday, just like us, if we lose, it's over. If you lose this big test, I think mentally it's gonna really, really hurt that streak. It ain't gonna be we fell off the rails, let's get back. I think it's gonna really hurt you guys.
Wouldn't you say that our big test was against the Titans last week?
Because I think the Titans, don't get me wrong, it's a great win. I'm not taking nothing from it. It's a great win. We didn't do it. We lost. The Titans are a great team. Titans are a great team, but I see some flaws in Titans where they're not in rhythm right now. They're really not in rhythm. Even when they played against us, we really had them 24-10. It was over. This guy didn't have over 40 yards in the first half. It was that second half adjustment that we lose in these freaking games. So I'm not taking that from y'all, but I'm saying is that I don't think that they're in rhythm right now. I think that we're going to be a bigger test than they were. But I don't necessarily say that right now that we would go into – I think that we're both flawed, but I think we're a stronger team than them.
Would you say that you're in rhythm?
Huh?
Would you say that you're in rhythm?
Hell no, bro. Hey, listen. We're hanging on by paper and glue here. I mean, paper and spit. Okay, we're definitely not in rhythm. I just think that pound for pound, I think that, not to be a homer, we're a better team than the Tennessee. I think that our defense is a lot better than Tennessee. I think our offense has a little bit more firepower in different areas. Not to say that they don't. So when we match up, it's an AFC North slobber knocker where we're going to be a little bit more evenly matched up. And I think that we're going to propose a better threat than Tennessee, because I think that our quarterback is a lot more able to do more things than Tannehill. But I'll say that, Tennessee's a great team, and I think they will be in the playoffs. I think they're going to lose in the first round, though.
Okay. Well, you feel free to message me on Monday night.
Oh,
I'll keep in mind your prediction, and it'll be a good one, man. I think it could go either way. Obviously, I think the Browns are going to win. I feel like that win back last week is really big, and I don't think we're going to rest on our laurels. But at the same time, you got to go out and play the game. And you guys are going to be ready. You have a lot more on stake that we do. We're 9-3. We can afford to lose, kind of. You know what I mean? Yeah. You guys can't really afford to lose, so you have more on the line. But it's at home. We're butthurt about how it went down in week 1, and so something's got to give. And so it's going to be interesting. I mean, the storyline couldn't be any better.
You're making me nervous. All right, I'm literally getting nervous. I'm literally felt that like, oh my God, I'm getting nervous. Man. But hey, I appreciate you coming on, man. I got 4 children and I hear them up in there, so I'm gonna get off here. If you're ever in Charlotte, dinner's on me. We're gonna go out, have some. I plan on making a trip out to where you're at. I got a brother who's in the Army out there. I want to go see him, so I'll definitely let you know when I'm coming, because I want to, 2 birds, 1 stone. I'll knock it out, both of you guys. So I appreciate you, man. We got to do this again.
All right, absolutely. Good talking to you, bro.
Yeah, man. Next time we're gonna have everybody on AFC North. We're gonna have 4 teams up here. We're gonna just talk crap.
That's gonna get rowdy.
Yeah, man. You take it easy, man. Appreciate you coming on.
All right. Good luck on Monday.
All right. Appreciate you, man.
All right. See you.